We're here with Matt Hickey from Grow It Greener. Matt, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us on.
I hear you have a lot of exciting news about gardening.
Yes, we do. We are promoting organic and sustainable lawn and garden practices.
And what exactly does that mean?
Well, basically it's getting people to be more mindful of the soil and the water, groundwater, because we all need it. Synthetic chemicals put a lot of nasty things into the earth, which affects our groundwater and the soil. We're killing a lot of bugs needlessly. We're polluting groundwater with synthetic chemicals that are salt-based. And so we're trying to open people's eyes to the fact that you can actually have beautiful landscapes, wonderful vegetable gardens without using synthetic chemicals. And it isn't hard. It actually becomes easier once you get established with your organic program. It's actually much easier to maintain because you sort of create a balance, if you will, more like nature had it.
Is it expensive?
It's actually not. A lot of people have that misconception that it costs too much money to switch to organics. Basically, a 5,000 square foot yard, you could have enough product to do a year's worth of lawn treatment for under $200. So
Wow.
It's not expensive. There are some of the, I guess, well, not benefits, but the ease of killing weeds and such that synthetic chemicals offer isn't necessarily there with organics. So you have to look at it as more of a year or two process to really get to where you've squeezed the weeds out of your lawn, created good environment where the grass is healthier and it just basically chokes the weeds out.
It's also healthier for the kids and the pets and everything else. I know my husband doesn't like to put a bunch of chemicals on the lawn because our kids are out there running around getting it all over their feet and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then they track it in the house. And
yeah, and you've got pets, you've got kids, and that's how we got started. I mean, I'm as guilty as anybody. It's, at one point I was using synthetic chemicals, put it on the end of your garden hose and go. We had our first child, which sort of made us become aware, and then I noticed her eating cherry tomatoes right out of the garden, so we really, at that point, decided we had to make a change. We've always had pets, and then with child number 2, we went away from synthetic chemicals so that we could be comfortable putting anything out on our yard or garden and knowing that it's not going to affect our pets or our family.
now, we mentioned about gardening on a budget. So if someone's going to start this brand new or is getting started, what are some of the things that someone can do on a budget to get started with organic gardening? And now being it's the end of July, what is there something we can plant now? Or?
Absolutely. We promote raised bed gardening, which enables somebody who's just starting out to have very good organic soil to work with.
Okay.
The clay is very fertile, but it's hard to work down here. And so for beginners, a lot of people get discouraged because they go dig a hole in their clay backyard. And a lot of us are in subdivisions, so you really don't know what you have in the way of dirt in your yard. Raised beds allow you to really decide what type of soil you're putting into your beds. It gives you a great start so that when you do start gardening, you have success. So many people, I think, get discouraged when they don't
Yeah, like me, I
have
planted
success.
carrots last year, and my carrots couldn't grow in the clay, and they're these tiny little...
That's right, that's right.
We've got a bunch of stuff, peppers and tomatoes and stuff coming up.
So we really promote raised bed gardening. And we're actually coming into a great time of year. There's very, very healthy foods. It's actually more healthier than your summer crops that you're able to grow in the fall and then in early spring. So really, to me, this is an exciting time. You're getting ready to be able to plant all of your lettuces, your greens, radishes, carrots, broccoli, cauliflower. There's just a wide diversity of things you can start planting from now until August, and really can make that last clear through Christmas. So really gives you a wide variety of things you can grow even in the winter. A lot of people would just assume that you plant in May and you're done, come fall. Well, in fact, I get excited this time of year because we're going to be planting some really great demonstration gardens out at our store, so people can come out and see, what you can be growing this time of year.
Are you offering any classes right now? Or
right now we're not, just because I think we looked at doing it in the summer, but because people's time is pretty taxed in the summer with kids out of school and so on. But as the fall comes along, we are going to offer some classes to help people get into gardening and have success right out of the box.
What's one of the biggest challenges? I mean, for me, I guess it's bugs, but...
Bugs are probably the biggest thing that people get discouraged with. That and soil condition. A lot of times you just see plants struggle in native soil because, like I say, developers do a lot of soil manipulation to get the ground right in housing development. So one of my biggest suggestions to people is, if you're going to start something in your yard, do a soil sample. NC State University does a wonderful job of examining soil, so you can go out and take multiple samples throughout your yard. Don't just take it from one place, but actually a variety of places around your yard.
And that's NC?
NC State.
NC State, okay.
The Cooperative Extension Service. You can get online and check that out, but you send it off to them. You only pay the cost of mailing it to them. It takes usually 3 to 4 weeks, depending on how busy they are, but you get a very detailed analysis that gives you some really good ideas about what your soil needs.
And now you are located next to the Bradford's, in the barn next to the Bradford store,
That's right,
which is a really cool place.
It is. It's awesome. It's a 26 or 30 acre working farm that is in the process of going all organics. All their produce is grown organically now. There's a process that you have to go through to become certified, but they are growing with organic practices now. So it's really exciting. We're working together. I've got some places out in the fields that we're working with some new products to be able to test it out and compared to what they're currently doing to get a gauge on how well our
And you
products
just
work.
opened, so tell us a little bit about how you got started, what made you, well, you talked about having kids, but what made you decide to now take this to a store level? And
it really started from the fact that there wasn't a good source for organic supplies, and also really somebody that you could go talk to. I mean, you can find a lot of products online, but for me personally, as we were learning and trial and error, I like to go see somebody face to face. I guess I'm an old-fashioned brick and mortar person, so I want to go talk to somebody because experience is absolutely the best way to learn. And so there was never anybody you could go talk to, or you would spend an hour and a half one way driving to find a store somewhere. So when the economy changed, things changed for us, and we decided it would be a great time to do this, not only because there's a need in the area, but to outreach to the community to help people become more aware of organics and how it makes more healthier foods, and hopefully create awareness for the local farmers as well that eating locally is much healthier, and it's just a better way for people to eat.
It's a great resource, and it's definitely one of the areas that's really growing now. People are more into gardening and buying local.
And we want to expand into, we call it sustainable practices, but rain barrels, compost bins, making people more mindful of ways that you can utilize what you're producing. You know, you can become sustainable on your own site. When you look at vermicasting with worms, you can take all of your food scraps and turn it into great fertilizer right at your house. So there's a lot of things people don't realize that they can be doing. We're also taking into consideration homeowners associations and so on that kind of dictate how the appearance of things. So we're working to be able to incorporate sustainable practices into landscapes so that they meet the requirements of homeowners associations.
That's great. We'll look forward to some of your classes too. Well, thank you for being on the show. And if you want to find out more about Grow It Greener, you can go onto the LKNSavings.com website. And you actually have a coupon on there now too to try some of the products you were talking about. It's $2 off. And
$5.
Neptune Harvest.
Neptune Harvest,
which is a wonderful fish and seaweed fertilizer.
Oh, great.
It's a great story, and it's widely used by organic farmers all over the country. So it's a great product. I'm having unbelievable success with my tomatoes using it exclusively.
Great, I need
this year.
some. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, and we'll be right back.